Hello, this is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And our sponsors are Alpha Claims and Hire Birmingham, the leading and best accident management company. Get a replacement car anywhere in 1 hour. I really appreciate you joining me again today, and this is news coming from here in Birmingham. No matter how many videos I do about international stories, I will always focus on UK news, and especially Birmingham, where it started. I do try to go to as many crime scenes as possible when there is a crime scene, but in relation to some of these shootings, there was no original crime scene. And this week alone in Birmingham, 3 teenagers have been shot, and in the West Midlands, there has been 5 shootings. And they are just the ones that are recorded. Birmingham Police released a statement about the most recent shooting, and I'll talk about the other shootings in a second. An investigation was launched on the 3rd of January when police were called to reports of shots fired on Malvern Hill Road in Nechells shortly after 7 p.m. The scene was being supervised by specialist officers as they conducted a thorough examination in the search for evidence. There was no reported injuries and no reports of any damage to any property in that incident, but there was a large police presence and forensic teams were doing fingertip searches. Later on in the day, Birmingham Mail reported that they were conducting house-to-house inquiries and also CCTV inquiries in the area. A local woman told that newspaper that she didn't want to be named, and she revealed that she heard a loud bang and she saw a man holding a gun pointing it at a car. She said there was a few boys and a car and they were holding a gun to another car. The car drove off and then came back and they just started hitting the car. It sounded like a very loud bang. The woman said that she'd had her window shot through 15 years ago while living in the same area. And in that incident, she said it was an attempted robbery. The other shootings took place in the space of 48 hours on the 28th of December and the 30th, so just before New Year's Eve. And these are the shootings that 2 younger teenagers and older teenagers were injured in. And this follows the recent shooting in Hockley that I covered on the channel, where a 13-year-old boy was shot and he's believed to have life-changing injuries. Several people have been charged in relation to that case, but we can't cover it now until the trial has been heard and concluded. The first shooting on the 28th took place in Small Heath on Arthur Street, and this happened on Tuesday night. The 17-year-old boy suffered facial injuries after a gun was fired at a red Ford Fiesta shortly after 10:30 p.m. The teenager was taken to hospital with injuries not thought to be life-threatening, and forensics were on the scene trying to examine the bullet holes inside the passenger side of the car. The second shooting took place in the Winson Green area, while 2 people turned up to Winson Green City Hospital with gunshot wounds, and police said that hospital staff were alarmed as they witnessed the men come in and they were aged in their late teens. Aberdeen Street nearby was shut down and firearms officers were trying to establish where the shots had been fired. The location of the shooting in Winson Green still remains unknown, as I spoke about in the previous story that I've just done for Newcastle, where there was several shootings, and because either nobody reported it and nobody said where it happened, there is literally no case, there's no crime has occurred if the police don't have any scene to start with, and there is definitely not going to be anything to report if no crime scene exists. Birmingham Police said they understand the concerns with several teenagers being shot and nobody being arrested, and one of the crime scenes not even being known. That is me paraphrasing, but that is the gist of the situation, is that the police have said they're fully aware that loads of people are being shot, but they have no idea who or why or sometimes when. In another shooting that took place on the 27th of December, this was just outside of Birmingham in Walsall, so this is still in the West Midlands area. A 23-year-old male was shot while he was sat in a car park on Walker Road in the Block Switch area of Walsall. This happened at 8 p.m. on the 27th of December. Police sealed off the area and forensics were at work trying to understand what happened. Statement from West Midlands Police said they're investigating after the shooting and the man was taken to hospital but since discharged. There have been extra patrols in the area to try to reassure the community that there is nothing to be scared of. And in connection to patrolling the areas, Birmingham Police have started to use drones very casually just to chase normal criminals. Only time I've ever seen these used before is when they are raiding cannabis factories. Birmingham Police have released the footage of the moment that a drone helped officers to track a suspect that had fled across gardens. This was in the Bordesley Green area near Small Heath on Cobham Road. Police said that he'd managed to escape officers and he fled through the gardens, and they used this as a way to be able to track him down because the drone was in the nearby area anyway. A 30-year-old male was later caught by the dogs and he remains in custody on suspicion of threats to kill, threatening behaviour and possession of Class A drugs. PC Paul Davies said the drone was able to track him down over the gardens and eventually Ronald Road, where he was arrested. If the drone wasn't available, then he would have potentially slipped away and we may have never caught him. So this is just a brief update coming from Birmingham, and don't forget to send me your news at news@scarcitystudios.com. And I just want to say a special thank you to all of the channel members. I've never actually mentioned it or tried to promote it because I never believed that anyone should pay to view the channel. But a lot of people are choosing to support the channel by paying a small amount every month. And I really do appreciate it. I'm going to try to create some extra content in relation to podcasts and radio where members will get some content at first, but the news will always be free. So special thank you to Pecan Baby, George Ramsden, DJ Vix Lyrical, Alexander Taylor, Mayra Demores, Shauna Locke, Paul Carpenter, D Stan, Samantha Bagel, London Chinese Cab, Mr. Adaptive, Philbo, Alex Taylor, Leeds United John, Adam Laws, Peter Benton, Tyron Simpson, Ketamania, Top of the Mount, Lanko Valentin, and there is actually more that I'll get through tomorrow as well. So really appreciate you joining me today. I'll be back again very shortly. Please don't forget to follow me online as well at scarcitystudios.com and on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter and Facebook at Scarcity Studios. And I hope everyone has a good evening. Peace.